It's not getting it.
Gentlemen and lady, everybody, welcome to the Loft Party Podcast. I'm your host, Rio, and I got some special guests with me. Tonight, we've got Mark Church, renowned bartender. Don't call him a mixologist, and we'll get into that on a later podcast. Dave Tiemann, who is an entrepreneur extraordinaire, also an art dealer, and we will get into that probably on a later podcast.
You sound like a mafia.
Chris O'Connor, who says he doesn't want to talk, but I think he's probably got a lot to say. He's the co-owner of Liquid 9. It's a multimedia company. And as always, the anonymous female, because she doesn't want you to know her name. So, now that we're into the Law Party Podcast this week, let's talk about pop culture for the week. I guess a couple things happened. We're not going down the political rabbit hole of who you're with or who you're not with, but it was interesting that Ben Carson got out of the race this week. I think his poll numbers have been falling.
It's about damn time.
Fast and furiously for weeks. And so finally.
Real nice guy.
Yeah, but
real great politician.
yeah. So.
Hi, I'm Ben Buchanan. I'm going to run for office.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. I couldn't hear you. What was that?
Well, loud as I talk.
I saw, what was it the other day, anonymous female, was it Nancy Reagan? When she passed? Like,
She did. Nancy Reagan did
was
pass.
that yesterday? Was that yesterday?
94.
Yeah. So, I was in, and that got me to thinking that, officially, it's the end of the Reagan era. With Ryan already gone and Nancy passing, I'm like, wow, it's officially the end of the Reagan era, because she'd still get carted out for events but yeah,
Still the former first lady.
yeah, absolutely.
She still screwed Frank Sinatra in the White House.
allegedly, right. Throw it allegedly on the end of that. In hip hop music news, I thought it was interesting to note that Kendrick Lamar dropped an entire album of untitled anonymous records. It was crazy because
Which is the title, by the way.
That's actually the title of the album.
It's titled, but it's...
I remember him.
The album's called Untitled Anonymous, and every song's in Untitled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He had an argument with, there was a Pitchfork article, he had an argument about it actually being an untitled album. They're like, that's actually the title of the album.
Yeah.
He was like, no, it's an album with no title. No, you named it. It's called Untitled.
Right.
It is now a name.
He is now the name of the album. Which is crazy because he had been doing all these performances, and part of the performances he'd end with this untitled song. So for a while, people had been clamoring, like, where can I get the song? Where can I get it? Well, how are you going to just throw us out there with this, incredible record, but no way to get it? And I guess they decided to put them all together and compile them, and they threw it out like the day before yesterday. I think it was. Yeah.
So it's number one untitled or untitled.
Well, it's untitled number 2. Yeah,
number 3. And here's what he's a moron: is you can't publish. You can't get the publishing rights to things without names.
Yeah, it's untitled number 1.
So that's so then.
The album, like I said, the album is like Untitled Anonymous, and then each song is untitled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes,
All he's copying R.E.M. from 1989. It was the last
R.E.M.
The last song on the Green record was just called Untitled, and it's number 11.
So, and that is why
Blur did the same thing. They had one that was
that's why I wanted to do a podcast, because my group of friends has that kind of random trivia just in their heads. And I think it needs to get out into the world. I think people need to know that. Oh, the other album that I saw came out on the hip hop side, and jump in if you got other genres. But Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz put out an album together called Collie Grove, and because College Park, where 2 Chainz is from, and Holly Grove, where Lil Wayne's from. In fact, they were on. I want to say it was the Tonight Show, but it wasn't the Tonight Show. It must have been like Conan or something. I'm like, they're doing an album together. I was like, although the song that I heard was really good, it was actually kind of almost reminiscent of like an old school, like kind of back and forth battle record.
2 Chainz can write a song.
2 Chainz knows how to make a hit. 2
song.
Chainz, I mean, he's not. He's not nearly the rapper that Wayne can be.
Wayne can be.
Yeah,
potentially.
Wayne can potentially be, but I think they both know how to make hits, and so they should have some pretty big records on there. I think anyway.
What's the opposite of a guilty pleasure? What's the one thing that you actually like dislike that everybody else likes? Because that's Lil Wayne for me. I cannot stand Lil Wayne, and I know that he's kind of talented. I don't think he can really write. I don't really think he can write.
I'm not a fan of him either.
That's actually a really good question.
He has one topic and
He's
steals
not
everybody's
that.
deliveries.
It's not that good.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point that I think Wayne was on fire, but
He had some random verses in other people's songs that were great.
You know what? There was a point where he was doing this. Yeah, like the Carter 1 and even the Carter 2, I think were really good. But I think up until that point, you were having even the Carter 3. But after that, like his verses got super one-dimensional. Like they just had one topic, and look, he's been creative in making hundreds of songs about the exact same topic.
Well done.
And saying it in 100 different ways.
Remarket things.
There's a lot of artists that do that.
Yeah.
Every single song is about just nailing a chick. They don't do anything else. I mean,
Yeah.
really, that's been going on.
Yeah, and I'm not, and that's the thing is I'm really not kind of mad at that, whereas, my problem is the groups that take themselves too seriously.
Like a U2 or a Coldplay.
Well, it's like you have to.
Chris Martin.
Well, it's like you have to remember that you're entertaining. Yeah. So, this is my theory of a good record. If I want to listen to it multiple times, maybe not in a row, but I do want to go back and I want to hear these songs again, it's probably good.
But do you still listen to albums?
I do still listen to albums.
You're a rarity.
Yeah, I know that I'm a rarity. I still
We
like
might all be rarities in that
I
sense.
still like the album.
Listen to albums
You don't?
anymore.
I still like
Really?
the album format.
I could see you as Chris. I could see you as a big album list, like a.
I don't have the time to screw with it, and I just
Yeah.
have to put all my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Go with it. Okay.
Yeah, no, you know what, and I get that.
The
I
shitty
get
thing is
that.
I don't even know half the songs or the artists that I listen to anymore because
Yeah.
I just find the song that I like.
That you like.
Because every week they come out with a new playlist.
You know what? Actually, I was
Things
talking
you
to
might
a
like.
friend of mine earlier today about that. Just because he was asking me, what did I think about how you get music out there today, and how you promote material, and I was just like, really, when you put it out and you announce to the world, through your Facebook or however you're announcing it, that the stuff is out, if you don't have a link that goes right to iTunes to buy it, you wasted your time.
Well, think about
because I think
Kanye's
people are so
albums.
impulsive,
I mean, Kanye's album is maybe the most bizarrely released thing in the entire world.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find and get. Is that
Yeah.
it would be the #1 album in the country because so many people pirated the album.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
It made a millionaire out of this kid from Kansas City.
Oh hell yeah!
What?
That's crazy.
There's a rapper from Kansas City that when it dropped that first song, when that first song dropped on I think it was on Spotify.
Yeah.
Or not wasn't Spotify.
No, they put on the Jay-Z's streaming service.
On the streaming service.
Yeah, put on Tidal.
The next song after, because it does a comprehensive play similar to Pandora or something,
Okay.
where
Right.
it takes all the styles of the song or whatever, and it plays the next style of song.
Okay.
It was a kid from Kansas City.
Oh,
that
that
it
was
was
the
in the
next-
pitch a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
It was a
wow.
kid from Kansas City that got it, and overnight he went from like 4,000 hits to like 1,000,000 hits.
Wow.
And he's about to release an album with not Columbia, some
Yeah, that's crazy.
big
though.
recording company.
That's
and
crazy.
And he just was the lucky, like, strong.
Yeah. That's nuts.
That randomly got chosen to be right after the first Kanye song dropped.
And that's what happened.
Same idea.
anymore. So like, I remember when 4 or 5 Seconds came out with the
Oh, yeah.
Kanye thing.
Yeah.
So they only released it for a while on Jay-Z's.
Oh, yeah.
Because Kanye signed on to that thing to be exclusive.
Right.
So then you had 5 other artists literally copy it exactly and
Yeah.
and post them on Spotify, so you could get.
So you could
You know,
get.
you can still get the song. It's
Yeah,
not Kanye and
yeah,
Paul McCartney
yeah.
give a shit. You would never know. It's about as close as you can get.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think people's attention spans are like it's like when you release the record, if it's available to purchase, like right away, people will go, "Shoot, it's $1, click," and they just get it. If you make them wait though, a week or 2 weeks, unless you're a Kanye or somebody that big, they're just gonna forget about it, and because somebody else is gonna release a song
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
2 hours from now.
Yeah, or
It
yeah,
takes 1 second to steal a song.
Yeah.
You can find it anywhere you want.
yeah.
You
So,
know,
and
it's
that's the
legal
thing.
offshore.
Yeah.
It's like I have a ton of Russian sites. Just go out there and just grab it and you're done. Like, literally, Russian laws, they don't acknowledge the copyright on
Yeah.
it. And so you can go to their servers and grab it.
Real quick.
All right, American audience, remember, we do not endorse going to Russian sites.
Russian piracy.
So you got other things you got to deal with. And it comes with a grill while you're out here. They ship over.
One-stop shop, that Russia.
Is that a Rolling Stone song? Comes with a girl.
Yeah, that might be
Okay, there you go. Oh, before I forget, we want to acknowledge our sponsors. Today will be iCafe, which is actually where we're recording the Law Party podcast today.
Yeah.
And am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
Or
Sure.
I'm about to say, and Rieger, which is fine Kansas City spirits. And we'll get into that a little further into the podcast. And also, Liquid 9. We want to thank Liquid 9 for being one of our sponsors today. What are we drinking, Mark?
We are drinking J. Rieger and Company whiskey. It is a American whiskey brand that we now have our very own designation. It is now legally called Kansas City whiskey. There's bourbon in Kentucky. There's Tennessee whiskey that uses a different sour mash. There's different vodka qualifications, different gin qualifications. We now have Kansas City whiskey, which is a blend. It's a blended whiskey that adds a little bit of sherry. The sherry kind of rounds everything out, gives a little bit of sweetness. Think of it like adding salt to a dish, or think of it like adding bitters to a cocktail. In the same sense, it kind of rounds everything out and pulls everything together.
Nice.
J. Rieger has a vodka, a gin, and a whiskey. I think the whiskey is their best product. However, the vodka and gin are delicious. We are enjoying the whiskey today, and I think Chris can say a little bit more about kind of how the companies come about as well.
Sure. Well, yeah, it was funny, and Dave knows this too. We, the Rieger and Manifesto are a bar here in Kansas City, and this is where Dave and I met. We would hang outside and smoke cigars all the time. And Ryan had this idea. On the side of the building has always been painted the original bottle of Rieger whiskey, which was a mail order business, whiskey business that got put out of business during Prohibition. And he always had the idea of wanting to relaunch the whiskey, and was actually able to track down members of the Rieger family. So the two main principals in it are Ryan Mabey from the Rieger, and then also Andy Rieger, who is the great grandson. Right. Yeah, it's a lot of
Lot of greats. A lot of greats. He is great. He is great.
And he's a super cool dude. So together they were able to get together, launch, get enough capital, and relaunch Kansas City's first whiskey brand since Prohibition. So
Nice.
pretty exciting.
I'm launching this week in New York.
New
New Jersey,
and
Washington,
DC.
D.C.
Yeah.
Just at Chicago a couple weeks ago. Trying to get into Kentucky. They're moving quick.
Yep.
Kentucky's actually going to be launched in June.
There you go.
And of course, we're already in Illinois, Kansas, Missouri, and Colorado coming up too, which should be exciting.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Colorado's huge. That's a huge market.
Yeah.
Nice.
So a lot of really great things happening for Jay Rieger and Company.
And it's fun seeing Kansas City have. I mean, we've had Boulevard beers for over a decade, actually over 2 decades now. It's nice to see a spirit company come from Kansas City. We've had the McCormick Distillery up north for a bit, but that's a little different. It's nice having a good local distillery that's starting to make a little name for themselves.
Agreed.
It's good.
Yeah, it's very nice.
There we go. Sounds good to me. Normally, at this point of the podcast, we ask the next question, which is, "What are you smoking?" But we're not we're not at a smoking establishment today, so we won't be smoking. Although, what were you smoking when we pulled up?
Well, that's I don't even know what it was. It was a off-brand from Thompson Cigar. But I will tell you, tomorrow I have coming in a 12-year-old Oliva sun-grown.
Oh, there you go.
And
Nice.
I'm very excited about getting those, and anybody wants to join tomorrow night at the Pendergast is more than welcome. I guess
I
we
just
could
might
throw
have
it.
to.
We might you haven't
Make
been
my
up there.
return. I have not been
It's
up
about
there.
time for you to make your return. So why don't you come up and have one?
I think I might have to.
Yeah, I think
It's been a
so.
few weeks. It's been a couple
Good
weeks.
idea. And of course, I love my Rocky Patels, which I've been bringing around and sharing and stuff like
such.
that. So that's all. That's what I've been smoking.
All right. If you can't tell, we're all cigar fans. Except for our anonymous female who does not dislike cigars, but she doesn't smoke them.
Does not partake.
Once or twice a year.
And there you go. There you go. So,
But she sucks on some cigarette every once in a while.
That's so not true.
no, that'll be your host, unfortunately.
But what is your favorite brands?
Oh.
You're not smoking today, but what is your favorite brand?
well-
And maybe why?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go last, and I'll pass that to Mr. Church.
Technically, no favorite brand. What I've been smoking lately tends to be my favorite brand. I had a nice selection of Cubans that had come in that I am now over, that I am now through with, sadly. Oliva has been my kind of go-to the last couple weeks. Even though they're somewhat nondescript, those Cameroons are so easy to smoke and such a great little midday, easy smoke. But the Series V's, those little V torpedoes are pretty damn good.
Those are damn good.
Can't get past those torpedoes. They're pretty solid. So that's been my jam.
Well,
the last
I've
couple
already
weeks.
kind of thrown mine in there. So, I mean, the Olivas, which I've been expecting, they were back ordered for almost 60 days.
Wow.
And the Rocky Patel packages, I like all the Rocky Patels. There's not one in there that I dislike. So I'm pretty happy with those two brands. Oh, I forgot my favorite brand. Excuse me, Gurkha. But,
Gurkha.
right now I'm off Gurkhas for a little bit, but I love Gurkhas.
Okay.
I was going to say.
And here's the reason why. Mild, smooth, easy draw, just great cigar.
All right.
Yep, Oliva for me for sure would probably be my favorite since I stole an entire box that one time on accident from a club member, but we rectified that. And now he's a good friend, so
And I knew he would be.
up for
And
that.
I knew he would be.
Yes, you're instrumental in making that happen, so thank you. Did not understand the rules of the club at the start, but do now very well.
Sounds like we need to open
it.
But I say, if you can't tell, we all belong to a cigar club that Chris has stolen entire boxes of cigars.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that was Chris because nobody knew. Thank you for putting the name on that.
Now that we have a name with the crime.
Yeah, I think for me, actually, I have to join in on the Olivas. I wasn't as aware before I started going to the club, but I'm kind of in love with the Olivas. But probably still my favorite is anything just about by Arturo Fuente.
Yeah.
Yeah. like you said, just easy draw, easy smoke.
If you like that earth, but it's not too spicy.
Yeah,
easily
yeah.
go to, man.
Yeah, but I say usually once or twice a year, try to get my hands on the Opus, just because I do. and no, usually like my birthday or New Year's or something like that. I try to get my hands on the Opus X, and that's one of the higher tier of the Arturo Fuente cigar line. I think we're gonna go from what we're talking about now to probably my favorite segment, which is the shuffle. So basically, listeners, the shuffle is this. Everybody's going to go to their phone, they're going to find a playlist, and they're going to hit shuffle. First song that pops up, we're going to talk about it because we generally always have something to say, because we do.
We always have something to say.
So
I'll say mine first. At 68, I don't have a playlist. I'll just commentate on everybody else's.
thank you.
By the way, and I won't be shy about commentating on it.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Love it.
And I'll have another drink while they're doing their playlist.
Oh, that's a noise we need. Actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, yeah, that's a noise that we need to have. We need to have.
We can find a good sound editor.
Yeah.
Do you know any sound editors?
I don't know, not.
Nobody that can do anything like that? Nobody, Chris?
I think we can figure this out. I said, what you got?
Oh, I didn't pull anything up yet. If you have anything to start, I can pull something.
Chris is ready. He's ready.
Oh, Chris is ready? Oh, perfect.
He's ready.
Start
And
there.
he's got music ready, like at the tip of his finger.
I don't have an iPhone, so I can't just pull up
hope
iTunes.
well, yeah,
true.
here's-
Like these cats.
I just hope the battery doesn't die.
Do you know a charger? You
I like
just have a
the nice
charger?
pretty screen though.
Thank you. This
Looks
is
awesome.
my 10th phone. So.
But hey, this year, listeners, 10th phone this year.
Yeah,
This year.
It's,
He is-
not
Well, within a year, not in 2016.
since the
Right.
success came out. All right, let's see what we got.
All right.
We're gonna skate to one song only.
Hey.
Great album too.
You know what?
Higher than-
I think this is a great way to start off the Shuffle podcast, because actually, not only do I know the record, I know quite a bit about the artist.
Oh, yeah.
I know a little bit about the recording process of this album, and it's one of my favorite songs on that album. And of course, this is Jay-Z and Kanye West, Watch the Throne. And the song, we'll abbreviate it and just call it Paris.
Yes, I'll start out.
All right, we'll just call the song Paris. All right, you know, call it.
I love this.
Yeah,
I
so.
love this entire album.
Oh yeah, the Watch the Throne album is awesome. You know, the funny thing is, this song was recorded in Paris, but they were traveling like a lot while they were recording this album. And there's one song on the album where I'm trying to remember how Kanye put the verse, but basically he mentions Russell Crowe in the song. They were actually recording at Russell Crowe's castle.
What?
Yeah, like ridiculous,
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah, like they were in like they were at his like at Russell Crowe's castle in Scotland or whatever.
Why not?
Yeah, like it's nuts, just nuts. Like we're like why would you be recording? First of all, why would Russell Crowe want you at his house recording hardcore rap records? First of all, yeah. But
Maybe we
that's
all just
awesome.
think a little differently about Russell Crowe.
Yeah, that's
Well, he
awesome.
had a band.
Well, he is an artist himself.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he is a singer.
I think he's probably a bigger music star. I mean, not star, but band than you probably would guess.
That's true.
To be a have his own rock and roll band, go around. By the way, does some grunge, so. Oh, that was the 68-year-old guy telling you Russell Crowe does grunge.
Yeah, so
like it.
All right, so what are we thinking over there?
Well,
Mr.
I've been kind of on I kind of think 2015 was year of hip hop. I thought that some of the best records that came out last year were actually hip hop records, which was the first year I could say that for a while. This is a little lesser known artist, but been a real big fan of Earl Sweatshirt lately. And he had a real good album with possibly the best album name I can remember in the last few years. I don't like shit and I don't go outside. Pretty damn good name for a record for a 23-year-old black kid. But this is a song Sunday with Frank Ocean. It's kind of a black hipster manifesto.
Yeah, I really like that whole crew. Like they, it's Tyler the Creator, Frank Ocean. Actually, we discovered the internet is another group. Like that crew is amazingly talented.
It's so young.
The crew's called Odd Future, for those of you who don't know, and it's just they're amazingly talented, and they're all offbeat and quirky artists, but the quality of their music is really high. So they've got a cult following that's pretty amazing. Earl Sweatshirt, probably the youngest person in the crew,
23, I think 24.
It probably has the most kind of cult following because Tyler's kind of made it, and Frank's kind of made it, and the internet's still pretty new as a group. But Earl's been around as long as any of them, but he hasn't just like blown up. But his following is rabid. It's just and like I say, his music is just weird and interesting, but
his style is great, and he pays more attention to like actual rhyme and meter and making sure that like lines agree with the previous line. Like a lot of rappers nowadays don't really do that to try to be unique. He actually can still be unique and also go with like basic poetry structure and actual hip hop structure. It's pretty impressive for a kid that young.
He's more about lyrics than and not just the words you use, but like you say, the actual structure of the lines and making sure that if he's gonna do, he makes less commercial music
for sure
than probably the rest of his crew, which I can't say they actually make commercial music either, because they're all well, except for Frank. Frank does, but Frank Ocean, and which another insane album title, Channel Orange, was an incredible album, and I don't think he gets talked about enough in that kind of pop R&B world. I guess kind of what he occupies.
That's what it's. I mean, honestly, I kind of feel that that's how it's. The pop R&B circuit is in that direction. It's going with the Frank Ocean direction and white kids making R&B. Like it's really kind of going to that more pop, more like very controlled and like good sound. A little less. I shouldn't say a little for the commercial aspect. I think a little less soul, a little bit more like concise, tightness. But you're still seeing a lot of soul coming from the underground stuff, which some of the other guys in the Odd Future group, the internet that we were just talking about, they definitely can kind of pull that. But that commercial R&B is becoming like the new pop.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah. I'm actually recording this podcast on my phone this week, so I'm not gonna join in the shuffle. But I will talk about a couple of new acts that I've discovered. I knew of one of the guys in this group, but I didn't know that he was part of a group. And the group's called No Worries. But it's spelled, instead of N-O, it's spelled N-X, Worries. I almost want to say pop R&B that, you might think of from like a Frank Ocean or something like that. But his delivery style is like nothing I've ever heard, because he can actually really rap, but he's really doesn't consider himself a rapper, because most of what he does is singing. and he almost has a gospel delivery. The way,
Like Anthony Hamilton
yeah,
style?
no, it's as a matter of fact, on the
The new Kanye album?
no, well, actually, no, on the Dr. Dre album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that last Dr. Dre album, Compton, he kind of put out right after the movie. If you got it and you were going through the credits and you saw the name Anderson .Paak and you were like, I don't know who that is, but why is he on 5 or 6 records? Because it would seem like Dr. Dre's only going to work with somebody that he really knows or really likes. And I've never heard of this kid, and I had barely heard of Anderson .Paak myself, and I think I may have heard one song, and I thought he was good, but I've heard.
And that's the No Worries guy?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's him and a producer, like a more of a electronic hip hop producer,
Almost
not
like a
a
Gnarls Barkley type of thing.
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's kind of and so, but there was just the way he delivers vocally. I've just never heard anything like it. And then Anderson's albums are weird too because he's got 2 albums. He's got one album called Venice, and he's got an album he just put out called Malibu. Obviously he's from California, and
He's not from Minnesota.
Oh, I thought it was New Jersey.
Next name of the
but yeah,
album
he's got some. Yeah, he's just If you haven't heard of Anderson .Paak, and if you're looking for him, it's Paak. Yeah, go check
Let's
out.
really make it easy to find them.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make it
Yeah,
simple.
about to say.
Well, he's Asian, so.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, he is like half Asian or something. He's like black,
Asian, no,
black, black.
Blasian.
And, yeah, like some kind of Blasian or something. What was that? What was Tiger like? Complication.
Complication.
Oh, like.
Oh, Tiger.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
That's another podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast.
We'll get on Tiger in the race draft in a future podcast.
Yeah, actually, and speaking of the racial draft, has anybody seen Dave Chappelle lately?
Well, he showed up at the, what was it, the Emmys? Or the Emmys or the Grammys. He was in the audience.
Yeah, I was just like,
What's
he's
his-
Yeah, which,
like he is
you've never-
swole. What? Yeah, like how
That
skinny
skinny
he was?
dude?
Yeah, like he is swole. I
Well,
was
yeah,
like,
but
why
no.
is he so big?
Well, yeah, you know what? He was ultra skinny. He's not heavy. I mean,
no, he's not heavy.
He's
But you
just
could
bigger
tell.
than you remember Dave Chappelle.
Well, ever being. He was a skinny pothead.
Like yeah, you could tell.
Exactly right.
You could tell he has hit the gym.
I'm hoping that
Interesting.
appearance
Yeah.
means he's going to make a comeback because I'd like to see him come back and either do another show or move.
Something.
Do anything.
God, I just hope he's not
the funniest
doing it.
man on earth. is
I just
Dave
hope he's not doing a carrot top and like going away for a few years and all of a sudden coming back swollen and not being funny anymore.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
You know,
Funny.
Yeah, we don't-
I do too. I don't think that guy
Damn
could not be
hilarious.
funny.
oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah, Chappelle is so
What was it?
hilarious.
Because everybody on the deck, it was a big roast or so. It was a roast. It was Justin Bieber's roast.
Oh, he was just in the audience?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
just in the
and he
audience.
was sitting in the
And
audience, that's
everybody,
right.
almost every comedian that got up
Said
acknowledged
something
him.
about it.
Oh yeah,
You have
And
to.
that's when you know
yeah. How big you really are.
You're the superstar.
Oh.
We're just
I don't think
Yeah.
it's crazy to say he's in the top 5, top 10.
of all.
Oh yeah,
Top
of all
5.
time. Yeah, yeah,
He's up
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know,
honestly,
he's a great writer, funny as shit, and could absolutely take all subject matter and make no matter who you were, what color you were, what religion you were, you laughed your ass
Yep.
off.
It's
And
true.
you should.
and you should,
And you
yeah.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
good
was
point.
really, really funny. I mean, I remember first time I saw was that his stand-up special, Killing Them Softly.
One in DC. Yeah.
Oh man, I cried laughing. I mean, when he was talking about the baby, it was just, oh my goodness. I was just like, who is this dude? And then when I saw the first episode of Chappelle Show, first skit was the
black white
the
supremacists?
blind black white supremacist.
Blind black white supremacists.
Oh,
And that's how you're going to start your show?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like if you
Might
it's
be
like,
one of the funniest skits of all time.
of all time. Like if you don't like this, you won't like any of it. So
Where's that nigger?
Stuff he got away with.
Oh my God! It was
amazing.
And I mean, and they're doing the exact same format, go 2 or 3 seasons and quit it. But Key and Peele, to be as socially and racially, there.
Sure.
Key and Peele's hit it too. Those two are. I mean, obviously it's the show's not a complete ripoff, but I mean it's basically the Chappelle Show just by 2 guys.
yeah,
But-
they definitely took his format and
But
and ran with it.
they are damn funny too.
Yeah.
Well, they are, but sometimes, because it is such you can tell, it's just reworked Dave Chappelle stuff.
It is.
After a while, you go, you guys, why don't you do something really original?
Yeah.
Don't you think that?
I agree.
mean, really, don't
And
you think?
I mean, I think they're funny.
I do.
I think they're
love to watch
funny,
them 'cause they make me laugh,
but yeah, the format is so close
so
to
Chappelle.
It's so close to the Chappelle Show's format, which there
I'm sure-
hadn't been anything like the Chappelle
That's why I
Show.
don't mind having them around.
Yeah.
Agreed, and that's exactly why I'm sure Comedy Central threw them, 7
Absolutely.
figures to do
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Same
Yeah,
reason.
I would hope they did.
Right?
Because like you
Can't
say,
alienate that audience.
There was a mass. Look,
A lot of black kids watching
I
Comedy
there was
Central out of
so-
nowhere.
Here's how funny Dave Chappelle is. I never knew Eddie Murphy had a brother till he was on the Dave Chappelle.
Charlie Murphy!
So good.
That's how funny Dave Chappelle was.
darkness, everybody, darkness.
And that original Prince sketch,
Oh my goodness.
the Prince sketch with Charlie, the E! True Hollywood Story, Charlie Murphy with Prince,
Oh, that's funny stuff.
might have been the funniest thing.
Or
I've
the
seen.
what was it? Or the,
Oh,
or
shirts versus blouses. Oh, that's funny.
the basketball.
Oh, yeah.
With Prince playing basketball.
Prince dunks the ball, holds on with one hand to the rim, takes the other hand off the rim, and is just floating in the air.
Oh, yeah. That's just funny stuff, man. That's just funny stuff.
So
There's
good.
too many classic skits on that. That's why
man.
you could just talk.
And then he invited them inside and made them
We
pancakes.
made a pancake. That's funny stuff, man. That's
Dave, we're telling you to come back, Dave. Just come back.
If you're listening, if you're a fan of the Loft Party podcast, please join the Loft Party. Come back, Dave. We want to see you do something else.
Or just move to
That-
Kansas City, join the group.
Hey, either way, we'll take either
Cigars
one.
and drink whiskey and have fun.
We'll take either one at this point. I think we had a pretty good show today. What do you think, gentlemen?
It was a good
Love
intro.
this show.
Yeah.
it's a lot
I think
of
so.
fun.
I think
It was a
so.
good first.
I mean, so what? We talked about Dave Chappelle coming back.
Yeah.
We talked about what our favorite cigar brands were. We're drinking some fine Rieger whiskey. We actually had even though we didn't all shuffle, we actually had a pretty good conversation on
We
the
gave
shuffle.
you an established
I would've
artist,
just-
a
I would've
couple artists to
shuffled
look
that.
for.
Yeah.
I legitimately hit shuffle.
Yeah, no, you actually did legitimately hit shuffle. Chris followed the rules, everybody. We're gonna write this down.
Because if we know anything about Chris, he's a rule follower for sure.
And I want to congratulate the group on nobody saying a word about the politicians of today's election.
No,
Donald Trump's
Cluster.
name did not get mentioned this
Yeah.
entire podcast.
Yeah.
And now-
We're the only one
now
in
it
the country.
yeah, possibly the only one in the country who hasn't mentioned them, and we're not going to mention nor disparage anybody because that's not the kind of podcast we do.
Yeah, that's
Although, as soon as we stop recording, we're going in. So we got a half bottle of whiskey left. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming out.
Thank you,
And
sir.
on this the inaugural Loft Party podcast, I want to say we did a good job.
There we go, boys.
Everybody raise your glass to good times with good people.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.